Hey everybody, it's Reed Puser
and Elizabeth Puser with the Roots Home Sales and RE/MAX Alliance, and this is the Roots in Denver show. So today, the Roots in Denver show is just outside of Steamboat Springs, just on the east side of Rabbit Ears Pass in Rabbit Ears Village, and we're going to chat with you today about unimproved vacant lots and kind of all the details surrounding it.
So with the home prices in the metro area spiking so drastically over the last couple years, we've had some clients who are seeking alternative options for housing. A lot of those clients are looking at vacant land just outside the metro area in the foothills, or sometimes even further up in the mountains like where we are here today.
So today, Reed and I are going to chat with you about a couple different things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is site selection. What lot do you want? Why do you want it? We're going to talk about access as well as utilities. And then the third thing we're going to go over is how do you actually get a loan on an unimproved or vacant lot? So the first thing, of course, you're going to start doing is figuring out what do you want to buy? Where do you want to buy it? So of course, figure out the location you like. Is it near the mountains? Is it a couple hours out? Focus on those. And then you're going to start thinking about how big of a lot do you need? Do you plan on building? Are you going to build big? Are you going to keep it simple? And then you're also going to start considering, do I need space for maybe a greenhouse? Or do you need an outbuilding where you can store all of your outdoor toys, things like that. So start thinking about those things, and that's going to guide you kind of into the next steps that we're going to chat about as well. So once you've figured out the area you want to be in, as well as the size of the unimproved vacant lot, then you're going to start thinking about driveway access. So literally, how do you get into the lot? So things to consider are, how steep is it? How long does your driveway have to be in order to not have a crazy, beyond I-70 grade? And the other thing is, when you are putting in a driveway, depending on what your lot looks like, you may actually have to come in with some extra dirt. And what's interesting, so everybody learns as they go through the process, is dirt is oddly expensive. And then it's even more expensive when you have to drive it in or take it from one city to bring it to your lot and everything like that. So certainly something to consider, because that can very quickly add up.
So another thing that you need to consider and do some diligence about when you're looking to buy a piece of unimproved vacant land is, how are you going to get your fresh water supply? And living in the metro area, or any city really for that matter, you kind of take that for granted. It comes from the city provides that. Well, up here on a piece of vacant land, most likely you're going to need to get a well drilled for that. And well drilling can be fairly expensive. They charge each foot that you go down. So one of the key items to remember, and things that we can help you with if you decide to go along this path, is doing some diligence via the Division of Water Resources webpage, where public information displays about all the adjacent wells near your lot. So you can get on there and see how deep other people had to go with their wells, and then gauge how much you might think yours might cost based on that depth. For example, when we bought this lot, we found out that the place up the hill had 1,000-foot well drilled, and they still weren't getting very good production out of that well in terms of gallons per minute. Then we looked at the place down the hill from us, and of course theirs was only about 65 feet or so deep. So that being the case, we kind of had a good ability to gauge where we might sit on there. The second big utility thing you need to think about when you're buying vacant land is your septic system. And your septic system is what's going to take care of your black waste, or your wastewater from your home. Typically, a septic can vary in cost depending on the composition of the soil around your lot. So what you're going to want to do is have your local excavator help you to dig a percolation pit. And then basically what that allows you to do is test how fast the water will percolate or drain through the soil after it is cleaned. So septic system is another big cost potentially, and something to do a lot of diligence about. We can help you with that as well.
So now that you've figured out the area you want to be in, you have considered the site prep as well as your utilities, now it's really the question of, how do you purchase it? So how do you purchase a vacant piece of land? So one of the things you're going to want to do is, you're going to actually go to a local bank. local banks have, intimate knowledge of all the different areas right around them. They understand that you're purchasing something that has no improvements, so no house, no driveway, no well or septic, things like that. So they can work with you a little bit more versus a bank out of the metro area who's unfamiliar with these smaller neighborhoods. One thing to keep in mind though with a vacant lot loan is that since there's no house or improvement on here, you're going to have to put a little bit more collateral up in the form of a down payment. So when you do go to do a vacant lot loan, you're most likely going to be looking at a 30 to 35% down payment. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this process and planning for everything.
Another great option that you can consider when you're buying a piece of vacant land, if you want to build sooner than later or even right away, is a land to construction loan. This type of loan is great in terms of it actually requires a little bit of a lesser down payment typically. You can do a 0% down USDA loan for a construction loan, or you could do a 3% land to construction loan. We've got some great contacts that we've worked with on this in the past, and if that's something that's of interest to you, just let us know.
Well, thanks for joining us today at the Puser Rev Lot, and we hope that you've enjoyed our little chat about what kind of goes into purchasing a vacant lot as well as land to construction in that sense. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to talk with you more about it wherever you choose to buy that piece of mountain property potentially. And comment in the bottom, send us a message on Facebook. We're here to help. And as always,
stay friendly, Denver.